skydiving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. And I feel like going on today. It's kind of cool because, when you live a life in recovery, things are just, I don't know, it's different. But I usually take Sunday off and blah, blah. Anyway, I usually don't go to a meeting either. And I decided today, I'll go ahead and hit my noon meeting. Yeah, not, nothing else is going on. I went into it and I didn't really like the feel, so I left. I'm like, you know what, Dion, you can't just, it's not how it works, bud. So get your butt back in the meeting and listen. You need it. And it turns out that there was somebody that needed some help looking for sober living. I am a believer of housing first when it comes to recovery. Yes, I do understand that you can get and stay sober while not having a roof over your head. It is certainly possible, but it is a lot more plausible for somebody that doesn't have to worry about that. And if you've never been in that situation, it's a tough thing to be in, man. And so this guy and I talked for a little while, looking for a sober living for him. And it made my day. So, it just shows to go, you never know what's going to happen in God's world. You really don't. So, good stuff. All right, let's get to some readings. I'll wait on that. All right, so happy Sunday, Brenda. Good to see you. All right. We learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently maybe, has to be smashed. It's okay that we're not like other people. AB2. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you, Brenda, very much. I appreciate it. I don't think Mile High has anything on the south side of town. And this guy wants to stay in Littleton Centennial, and he can afford it. So, but we'll see what happens, whatever the guy's willing to do. So, most of us have been unwilling to admit we were real alcoholic. I mean, what is a real alcoholic? In your mind, think about it. I mean, for me, when I was growing up, when I thought of an alcoholic, it was the guys living under the streets, or, living on the streets and everything. And then I found out different when my mother got sober and was an alcoholic when I was 14. So, So at that point, I had already figured out that alcoholism comes in different forms. And my mom made me start to go to Alateen. So I learned even more. So 1984. Thanks, Mom. I mean that, even though it sounded sarcastic. No person likes to think he's bodily and mentally different from his fellows. None of us like that feeling, man. Who likes to feel different from everybody else around them? It's very uncomfortable. You don't know what to say. You don't know how to act. I had a hard time before I had a hard time with people before alcohol even came into the picture. So there you go. Jill found out different in 1982 when her dad got sober. Her dad's a really cool guy too. I like Jill's dad. Therefore, it is not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove that we could drink like other people. The idea that somehow someday he will control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. We learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently maybe, has to be smashed. Okay? Now, the thing is we are like other people, though. Us, right? You and me. All right? So I got into the program and found out that I was not alone in this. In fact, the very first word is we. We admitted that we were powerless over alcohol. So that meant that I got to do this with other people and not feel so alone, or that I was terminally unique, right? That I think I'm so different from other people. And I even went through that after I had 12 years of sobriety, and I knew this book. But it's astonishing how our minds will warp us into different thinking. My thinking was, well, I was 19. Who isn't an alcoholic at 19? Well, most other people, Dion. We alcoholics are men and women who have lost the ability to control our drinking. We know that no real alcoholic ever recovers control. All of us felt at times that we were regaining control, but such intervals, usually brief, were inevitably followed by still less control. This led in time to pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. We are convinced to a man that alcoholics of our type are in a grip of a progressive illness. Over any considerable time, we get worse, never better. We are like men who have lost their legs. They never grow new ones. Neither does there appear to be any kind of treatment which makes alcoholics of our kind like other men. We have tried every imaginable remedy. In some instances, there has been brief recovery, followed always by still worse relapse. Physicians who are familiar with alcoholism agree there is no such thing as making a normal drinker out of an alcoholic. Science may one day accomplish this, but it hasn't done so yet. While I'm sitting here reading this, what I'm thinking of is, look at the degree that we are going to just to talk about how we are not like other people. I don't know if that's coming across correct. Normal people don't focus on how the fact that they can or cannot drink normally. Okay. Well, if I can't do something normally, let's say, I'm not very good at football. I'm probably not going to play it, right? But when it comes to alcohol, all bets are off, man. There's a switch in there, and we cannot help it. Despite all we can say, many who are real alcoholics are not even going to believe that they're in that class. Yeah. It's denial. And denial is not a river in Africa. By every form of self-deception and experimentation, they will try and prove themselves exception to the rule, therefore non-alcoholic. What are we really trying to prove? And to who? That I can drink like you? Well, isn't everybody kind of different? People have varied traits at different levels and things like that. Drinking's not a competition to other people, but to us, it is. If anyone who is showing the inability to control his drinking can do the right about face and drink like a gentleman, our hats are off to him. Heaven knows we have tried hard enough and long enough to drink like other people. All right. I tell you something. Out of the thousands of people that I have met in the program, I know of one person that fits that description. One. Okay. I'm not going to go over some of the methods, We do not like to pronounce any individual as alcoholic, but you can quickly diagnose yourself. Step over to the nearest bar room, try some controlled drinking. Try to drink and stop abruptly. Have half a beer and then leave. Try it more than once. It will not take long for you to decide. If you are honest with yourself about it, it may be worth a bad case of the jitters for you to get full knowledge of your condition. Hate to say it, but sometimes that's what it takes. There is no way of proving it. We believe that though there is no way of proving it, we believe that early in our drinking careers, most of us could have stopped drinking. But the difficulty is that few alcoholics have enough desire to stop while there is still yet time. We have heard of a few instances where people who showed definite signs of alcoholism were able to stop for a long period because of an overpowering desire to do so. And when they're talking young people, okay, a man of 30, okay, even at 19, I was an alcoholic. I was a full-blown alcoholic. I hadn't lost a lot of things that other people had, but that's because I had never gained them, you know. And I didn't lose my wife because I didn't have one, and lose my car, my house, and all those other things because I didn't have one. Right? Well, when I relapsed, I made sure I went and got all those yets taken care of. And it's not a requirement to do that, guys. You do not need to do that. In fact, I would suggest that you do not. You know, let me be proof that it still doesn't work. I don't mind being that proof today. I came to Alcoholics Anonymous because I was no longer able to control my drinking. You were able to at some point? Just kidding. It was either my wife's complaining about my drinking, or perhaps the sheriff forced me to go to AA meetings. Or perhaps I knew deep down inside that I couldn't drink like others, but I was unwilling to admit it because the alternative terrified me. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women united against a common fatal disease. Each one of our lives is linked to every other, much like the survivors on the life raft at sea. If we all work together, we can get safely to shore. And it was kind of funny because when I was putting up the topic, when I was making the whatever you call it in the beginning, it's like United We Stand. I'm like, oh my God, and that's why I put in recovery in parentheses, because otherwise I was afraid other people were going to jump on here thinking I'd be talking about, you know, and it did happen. I actually had 10 people watching, and it's down to 2. So I think they realized, oh, wait, this isn't about Trump. No, I'm here talking spirituality. They ran the fuck off. That's why you got to be careful what you say, right? So there's going to come a time when it is no longer about the alcohol, guys, and it really isn't about the alcohol. It's about the fact that we've never felt like we fit in here or here. It's that hole that we've always had, you know, whether it be in your heart or your stomach or wherever you're feeling it at that time. All right. So, you know, today I'm grateful for the fact that I have a disease called alcoholism, because if I didn't, I don't know that I would have ever met God. I think I'm going to end it with that. I'll be back tomorrow for a daily reflection. Anticipate some changes coming up, guys. I got some new ideas. I finally came to a decision on something this weekend. I'm satisfied. I'm happy. It's a good direction. I love it. It'll be good for everyone, right? And that's what it's all about, right? It's got to be a we thing. So, all right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you. Peace out and have a day.